Leonardo da Vinci, the mind behind the smile. The words are chilling. This scythe car will cut men down like wheat, hurl fireballs into ships and burn men alive. They sound like the ravings of a cruel tyrant, but they belong to the mind behind the Mona Lisa's serene smile. Leonardo da Vinci. He was a genius who dreamed 400 years ahead of his time, filling secret notebooks with mirrored script designs for inventions the world wouldn't see for centuries. Yet Leonardo was a man of two faces. One was a peaceful vegetarian who bought caged birds just to set them free. The other designed brutal chariots to mow down soldiers. He dreamed of building a better world, yet also sketched its destruction. For historians, he remains a puzzle, hero or villain. The truth is deeper. Both words seem too small for him. This duality was forged in crisis. At 24, he was publicly accused of homosexuality with a 17-year-old boy in Renaissance Florence. This was a devastating scandal. Society's disgust, suspicion, and scorn broke him. He retreated, locking himself in his room for 4 years. In that profound darkness, where most men shatter, Leonardo's true genius was born. He began his personal notebooks, not just diaries, but a new way of seeing. Page by page, he trained himself not merely to observe the world, but to decode its hidden patterns. This was the birth of his psycho. By 1482, Florence felt like a prison, choked by shame, poverty, and stifled ambition. He made a desperate, character-defining move. He wrote a letter not to an art patron, but to the warmongering Duke of Milan, Ludovico Sforza. He didn't mention painting. Instead, he proclaimed, "I can make weapons. I am a war engineer." The Duke was intrigued. The doors of Milan swung open. Closer to power, Leonardo began to change. The artist became a military designer, crafting instruments of death to please his master. He designed a great crossbow, a building-sized weapon meant to fire multiple cannonballs to shatter enemy morale through fear, not just force. He combined mechanics with psychology for maximum impact. His creativity in destruction was terrifying. He sketched a 33-barrel machine gun, a rapid-fire weapon conceived 300 years too early. He designed a mounted scythe chariot with whirling blades powered by horses, riding coldly that it would cut men down like wheat. He envisioned an iron-plated moving fortress, a prototype tank in an age of cavalry charges. Here's the mystery deepens. Historians note that Leonardo deliberately drew the gears in some of these killing machines backwards, making them impossible to build. Was this the secret rebellion of a pacifist genius, silently sabotaging his own monstrous creations to protect the world from his mind? There is no proof, only this haunting clue. His obsession wasn't confined to Earth, it took flight. "Once you have tasted flight," he wrote, "you will forever walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward." His first designs mimicked birds, with flapping wings that failed, but his genius lay in learning from failure. He soon decoded the physics, understanding that a curved wing creates lift through air pressure differences, grasping Bernoulli's principle 300 years early. His glider and parachute designs were so sound they can be built and flown today. His mind, a relentless pattern recognition machine, made leaps that seemed supernatural. Watching a screw twist upwards from wood, he envisioned the aerial screw, a blueprint for the helicopter 450 years before its invention. He sketched diving suits, hydraulic renewable energy systems, and even a mechanical walking lion robot for courtly entertainment, a marvel of gears and springs in an age without electricity. But internally, this storm of creativity was born of anguish. In his notebooks, he repeatedly confesses his despair. "Tell me, if anything was ever done, I have wasted my days." He was fighting two wars, one with a world that couldn't understand him, and a fiercer one with his own restless mind. He would labor for 4 years on a single painting, The Last Supper, which was less a religious scene and more a psychological X-ray of human emotion, betrayal, and denial. Fate intervened again in 1507 when he met his intellectual soulmate, Marcantonio della Torre, an anatomy professor. Together, they dared to challenge a 1,500-year-old medical dogma from Galen, which was based on animal dissection, not human. With Marcantonio's license, Leonardo gained access to corpses at Santa Maria Nuova Hospital. In cold, dark rooms, by candlelight, Leonardo began his most profound exploration. Layer by layer, he peeled back the human form, not as a butcher, but as a bioengineer decoding nature's perfect machine. He discovered the cause of natural death in an old man's blocked arteries, understanding arteriosclerosis centuries before it was named. He saw the spine's elegant S-curve not as a flaw, but as a brilliant shock-absorbing system. He poured molten wax into a bull's heart to create a perfect cast, revealing its 4 chambers and valves, understanding it as a precise pump, not a vessel for the soul. His most stunning insight was observing that blood doesn't flow in straight lines through the heart, but in elegant, swirling spirals, a design that reduces stress on the valves. Modern cardiology confirmed this helical flow 500 years later. In 4 furious years, He and Delator produced over 200 pages of anatomical drawings, so accurate they would have advanced medicine by 200 years overnight. But tragedy struck. In 1511, Delator died in a plague outbreak, and Leonardo's hospital access was revoked. The revolutionary encyclopedia was left unfinished. A final hope emerged in Rome in 1513, where he was granted access to the Ospedale di Santo Spirito. But here, his dissections of fetuses and studies of the soul drew accusations of blasphemy and black magic from jealous rivals. Even the Pope grew impatient with the artist who never finished his commissions. When Leonardo presented a new varnish formula instead of a painting, the Pope sneered, "This man will never accomplish anything. He thinks of the end before the beginning." The psychological wound was deep. Soon after, his anatomical work was permanently banned. The last door to his greatest passion slammed shut. In 1516, a broken Leonardo accepted an invitation from King Francis I of France, leaving Italy forever, taking his life's work, the notebooks, with him. In 1517, a stroke paralyzed his right hand, the hand that painted the Mona Lisa. Yet with his left hand, he continued to draw, a soldier fighting to the last breath. On May 2, 1519, at age 67, the end came. The man who had sought every truth was left with one haunting regret. His final words, scribbled in a notebook, echo with heartbreaking failure. "I've offended God and mankind because my work did not reach the quality it should have. Tell me, if anything was ever finished." Leonardo's greatest tragedy was not that the world failed to understand his genius in time. It was that his own boundless, restless mind, what experts now suspect may have been a form of hypercurious ADHD and polymath genius, never allowed him to see his own breathtaking achievements. He died believing he had accomplished nothing. His notebooks were preserved by his assistant and lay hidden for 259 years. When they were rediscovered, the world finally saw his true face. An anatomist declared him the greatest anatomist of all time. Engineers built his flying machines and found they worked. Cardiac surgeons marveled at the precision of his heart studies. Yet today, most know him only for a single, mysterious smile. They don't know that within thousands of notebook pages lies the real Leonardo. Not just an artist or inventor, but a psychothinker. A man who fought a lifelong battle between creation and destruction, between understanding everything and feeling he had done nothing. A timeless mind forever trapped 400 years ahead of its time.